study material kan. So, good evening, everyone. Okay. You can hear me properly, right? And all the online students?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, online students, anyone from science background? Anyone from science?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no one. Okay, so here most of the students are from commerce background and few are, I suppose, from arts, right? You are from arts, only you. Okay, rest, you are from arts. Right. So last class, we have discussed 18 MCQ questions, right? So today we'll be discussing you from the starting, that is starting as in like from definition of economics, page number 6. You can take out your study material and see page number 6. And take out your copy also. And with the study material, you use your pen and your notebook. So here in page number 6, you can see wealth definition, fine? So you have to write in your study material like wealth definition. Here you can see it is mostly, almost all the classical economists followed wealth definitions. It is mostly associated with J.B. Say and Adam Smith. And Adam Smith was called father of economics. So you have to write this as who is called as the father of economics. So you write down this question and you write down the answer also. So who is called as the father of economics? Yes. So you write down this answer. Fine. So like I have gone through the previous year question paper. This is also one of the questions that has been asked, and 4 options are given. 4 name of the economist are given. You have to choose the correct option. So correct option will be your Adam Smith, right? So, and again, the next line, you can see the name of the book written by Adam Smith is. The question is like, what is the name of the book that is written by Adam Smith? So you have to write an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations, and you write down the year also, that is 1776. Okay, so write down the name of the book that is given, and you write down the year, 1776. So the name of the book is An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. Yeah, it's in page number 6. Rintu, Isha, Radhika, Dishankar, can you hear me and are you writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you keep on writing as you are online and you are here to attend the class and learn something. You have to write. Fine. Now we'll move on to the definition. 2 definitions are given here. According to J.B. Say, economics is the study of science of wealth. Okay? And Adam Smith has defined what is economics. Economics is the science which deals with the wealth. So these are the 2 definitions that is given by J.B. Say and Adam Smith. So what is this definition all about? So economics explain how the wealth is produced, consumed, exchanged, and distributed. So here 3, we can say, subject matter is given. So economics is all about here how wealth is produced. Okay, how wealth is produced, how it is consumed, and how it is exchanged and distributed. So that is the first line. Second one, according to Adam Smith, man is an economic man. Okay? So man is an economic man. Then science of study. So economics is a science of study of wealth only. Then this definition deals with the causes behind the creation of wealth. Then it only considers material wealth. So in short, we can say that the wealth definition is given by Adam Smith, okay, as well as J.B. Say. Fine. Now next one, welfare definition. So if we'll see like welfare definition, next question you write down, who has given welfare definition? So who has given the welfare definition of economics? Okay, welfare definition of economics. So you have to write Alfred Marshall. Okay, it's in page number 7. You have to write the welfare definition is given by Alfred Marshall. And he was the follower of Adam Smith. So after Adam Smith, it is your Alfred Marshall. Fine. So here, Alfred Marshall is the, or we can say was the follower of Adam Smith. Now again, write down the name of the book that is written by Alfred Marshall. So he wrote a famous book, Principles of Economics, or Principles of Political Economy in 1870. In 1870. So next question you write down the name of the book written by Alfred Marshall. Name of the book written by Alfred Marshall, and you write down the name of the book, Principles of Economics or Principles of Political Economy in the year 1870. Done? So here, whenever we are talking about welfare, that means we are talking about welfare of the mankind, welfare of the people living in the society. So here, economics is the study of, welfare definition says, economics is the study of mankind in ordinary business of life. It examines that part of individual and social action which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of material requisites of well-being. So mostly here we are talking about welfare of the mankind or people. Now we'll move on to, we'll move on to scarcity definition. So who has given the scarcity definition of economics? Yes, Lionel Robbins. So write down who has given the scarcity definition, and we can also say this is Robbins' definition. Okay, so scarcity definition is given by Lionel Robbins. And the name of the book that is written by Lionel Robbins is An Essay on the Nature and Significance of Economic Science in the year 1932. So you write down the year also. Okay, now you see the scarcity definition. So here scarcity definition, economics, according to scarcity definition, economics is a science, okay, which deals with what? It studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scare means which have alternative uses. So scarcity means here we are talking about the resources, okay, the resources which are scarce in nature. Okay, the resources are limited. The resources are limited, and with that limited resources, what we are doing it, we are using all those resources in alternative uses. Suppose you have these resources, and from this resource, what we are doing, we are trying to produce number of products, right? Number of products. So here, scarcity definition says that resources are limited, those are scarce, limited, and those have your alternative uses, right? So resources, from one resource, we are producing too many number of products. Fine. So that is your scarcity definition all about. Economics is a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Now, next one, page number 8, you can see growth definition. So growth definition was given by J.M. Keynes and Samuelson. You write down. Okay? And the name of the book also you write down, which is given in your study material, Economics and Introductory Analysis, and which is written in the year 1948. Okay? 1948. So who has given growth definition? Yes. J.M. Keynes and P.S. Samuelson. And the name of the book also you write down, and you write down the year also. Fine? So now, you see the definition given, growth definition, that is economics is the study of how men and society choose with or without use of money to employ the scarce productive resources that would have alternative uses to produce various commodities over time for distributing them for consumption now or in future among the various persons and groups in the society. So this is the advanced version of your scarcity definition, right? Advanced version of your scarcity definition. So here, again, what is mentioned, like the resources are limited, those are put into alternative uses, and altogether what is mentioned here, that alternative uses to produce various commodities over time. Why? To distribute them, okay? To distribute them for consumption. Now that means in present as well as in the future. Okay, done? So one is your wealth definition, then welfare, then scarcity, the next is growth. So you remember, you study the definitions, okay? You again write down the definition, go home and write down the definition, wealth definition, one definition you write, growth definition, scarcity definition, and another one is welfare. Yes. Okay. Now we'll move on to, as all of you are from arts and commerce, you have already studied economics in your 11 and 12 standard, right? So you already know what is economics all about, and economics here, we have, it's divided into two. One is micro, and another one is, yes. So micro means small. So which is derived from the word? Micro is derived from the word micros, right? Which means small. M-I-K-R-O-S, right? You can see in page number 7, I suppose, page number 9. Okay, page number 9. Here you can see the word micro is derived from the Greek word micros. Okay, this Greek word, you write down here. So, micro is derived from the Greek word micros, this one, M-I-K-R-O-S, which means small, okay? And which is dealing with what? Dealing with individual units, or we can say individual variables. So example of microeconomics, individual, whenever we are talking about individual what? Give me one example. Individual supply, yes, individual supply. Individual supply, then individual demand, then price of a product, right? Price of a product. So whenever we are studying in individual level, okay, in small level, that is, we can say microeconomics, fine? And macro is like whenever we are studying overall, right? So here, again, this is derived from the Greek word macros, M-A-K-R-O-S, which means large, So here, the example will be here, it is your individual supply, it will be aggregate supply. Example is your aggregate supply. So whenever we are talking about micro, so example is individual supply. Whenever we are talking about macro, we are studying overall. That means aggregate supply, aggregate demand, right? Fine? Then employment, overall employment of a particular country, right? Employment problem, or we can say unemployment problem of a particular country. So that way, like whenever we are talking about overall, that is your macroeconomics, fine? So you can see in your study material, the word micro is derived from the Greek word micros, which means very small. It studies about the, page number 9, it studies about the behavior of individual units. Individual units are a consumer, okay, a consumer, a producer, a firm, or an industry. Marshall developed the microeconomics very well. According to Marshall, microeconomics divide the economy into small units or small parts, and each part is studied. It explains how a consumer gets maximum satisfaction, how the producer gets maximum output, and how the firm gets maximum profit, fine? Now move on to page number 10, macro. So the word macro is derived from the Greek word macros, which means large or very big. So here, it doesn't deal with individual unit, it deals with aggregate or totals and average. So example here, we can say national income. Okay, whenever we talk about micro, it will be income of a particular person, right? Individual income or income of a particular person. So here in macro, the example is national income, full employment, total output, total investment, total consumption. So that way, the aggregate, or we can say at overall, whatever will be the variables in the units, so that will be your macroeconomics. Fine? Okay. Okay. Now, move on to page number 13. What are the central problems of an economy? Okay, the central problem of an economy. So here you can see in page number 13 what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Okay? So the central problems of an economy is what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, right? So what to produce? Okay, can you tell me why the central problems of an economy arises? So these are the problems, but why this problem arises? These are the problems. Okay, what is an economy? Whenever we're talking about central problems of an economy, okay? Now, you are studying economics, right? Economics. So economics is a subject matter. It is a subject matter. You are studying a subject, right? It is a subject matter. But what is an economy? Or both are same? It's not same? What is an economy? What is an economy? Okay, we say Indian economy, right? Indian economy, we talk about the economy of USA, we are talking about economy of China, right? Right? So what is Indian economy? Whenever we are talking about economy, see in India, we have schools, right? We have colleges, we have universities, we have various factories, right? We have various farms, agricultural units, right? Then we have banks. Then we have hospitals. Yes, we have hospitals. Then, okay, you can think about many units where people work. Where all people work? Kot manuhe kam kore. People work in school, people work in college, people work in university, right? People work in factory, people work in agricultural farms. They are agriculturists, right? Banks, hospital, and where else? Airports, okay, airport. Then, where all? Where do you want to work? Where do you want to work? Hospital? No, you will not be a doctor, no? No, yes, like hospital may have a CMA, right? It's a big hospital, they may have a CMA. Right, you can work in bank also. So that way, in a particular economy, we are talking about Indian economy, in a particular economy, we have many units, and these are the units which are giving earnings to the people. Right, people are working here, these units are either producing a product or they are giving service to the society or to the people, right? And they are giving, or we can say, giving livelihood to the people. In the entire economy, people are working here and people are getting money from all these units. Right or wrong? So either they are the producing units or they are the service providers. Right? Banks are the service providers. School, colleges, they are the service providers. Fine. So factories, agricultural farms, they are like producing units. They are producing products. But what they are giving, they are money to the people who are working here. So altogether, these units are known as economy. Right? Altogether, these units are known as economy. This is economy as a whole. All these producing units are contributing to the economy, producing a product, they are providing services, and they are providing livelihood to the people, they are giving money to the people, okay? So that is altogether your economy. Fine? Understood? Okay. Now question is like, what are the central problems of an economy? So what are the central problems? What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Now my question was, why the central problems of an economy arises? Okay, I'll come to the answer. Okay, first let me discuss this. What to produce? Kya produce kare? Yes, capital goods or consumer goods. Okay, what to produce? As Kiran said, capital goods or consumer goods. Okay, so in front of like here, few units, they have a problem in their mind. I can say mind only. They have problem. Okay, all these units, whatever we are talking about, the units, basically the producing units, they have like lots of question and they have confusion that what they will produce, whether they will produce capital goods or consumer goods. Now question arises, what is capital goods? What is capital goods? Example, plant, machineries, right, tools, equipments. So capital goods are those goods which are, yes, which are purchased by the producing units, right, to again for further production. Fine? Got it? That means a car manufacturing company, they will be purchasing some plant and machinery or tools and equipments from some other company to produce car. So that means they have to purchase what? Capital goods, right? Capital goods. And the goods like this, right? Goods like your water bottle, goods like pen, okay? Goods like pencil, your watch, fine. These are your consumer goods, biscuit, toothpaste, toothbrush, consumer goods, fine? So now, in front of the producer, there is a question, or in front of the economy, there is a big doubt and a question like, what to produce? Capital goods or consumer goods? और वो क्यों है? वो question क्यों आता है? Why? Why that is a problem? Because resources are limited. है कि नहीं? Resources इतना सा है और वही resources से हम सब कैपिटल गुड्स से प्रोड्यूस करेंगे तो हमको ये वॉच कौन देगा, मोबाइल फोन कौन देगा, राइट? बिस्किट्स कहाँ से मिलेगा खाने को, है कि नहीं, राइट? So that's how, as resources are limited, okay? And there is a big problem, or we can say central problem of the economy is like what to produce, okay? Whether to produce more of capital goods or more of consumer good. Fine? So that is the first one, what to produce. Here, you can talk about capital goods and consumer goods. Fine? So consumer goods are used by the consumers directly, and capital goods are purchased by the producing units so that they can use all those for further production. Fine. Now, how to produce? Okay, how to produce? कैसे करेंगे? Okay, how to produce? So how to produce is like, there are two methods of production, right? One is, yes, capital intensive method. Another one is labor intensive method. One is capital intensive method, capital intensive. Another one is labor intensive. So in capital intensive, more of your machinery, more machinery, less labor. And in labor intensive, we have more labor and less machine, right? So that is again a problem. That is again a problem. If the company will use capital intensive industry where there will be more machine and less labor, obviously their cost of production will go down, right? Their cost of production will go down. They will be able to like produce the products at a very low cost. So they will be able to offer the goods at a very low price. Fine. And another one is labor intensive. Here, more labor will be working and less plant and machinery will be using by the producing units, right? But what will happen? Cost of production will go up as well as the price of the goods will also go up. But there is a problem. If all the industries will use only capital intensive, then there will be a problem for the economy, unemployment. Okay, there will be a big problem in front of the economy. There will be unemployment problem. People will not get job. People will not work. If people will not work here, how they will get money and how they will survive and how economy will run. So that's a big problem. So how to produce? Understood? Understood? Our next one is for whom to produce. For whom to produce? किसके लिए produce करेंगे? There are various sections of people, right? There are various sections of people like, yes, rich and poor, higher higher class, middle class, lower class. So resources are limited. एक section के लिए तो नहीं produce करेंगे ना, है कि नहीं? So it will be produced for all the sections of the people, different qualities of the goods. So for whom to produce? किसके लिए produce करेंगे? So this is the central problem of an economy. Understood? Okay. Now you see your study material, what is written here. Central problems of all economics. Due to the scarcity of resources, every economy faces problems. The central problems of all economics are explained as follows. Number one, what to produce. An economy should produce something on the basis of the requirements of the society. Further, if the present is given importance, the resources are diverted for the production of consumer goods. If future is given importance, the resources are diverted for the production of capital goods. Fine? So here the problem is like whether to produce consumer goods or capital goods. Second one, how to produce. This problem is arising because of unavailability of some resources. A country may produce by labor-intensive technique or capital-intensive technique depending upon its manpower and stock of capital. Fine? Now next one, for whom to produce. Government policy determines what are the commodities to be produced and for whom. Okay, so government will say. Okay, government will determine. Fine. So one can make a conjecture from the pattern of production of the country. If the government decides to produce more ordinary buses than luxury cars, then one can understand that the country is producing for the poor and not for the rich. Fine? One example is given here. I think you have understood now. Fine? Now, coming back to the question. So why the central problems of an economy arises? Now you write down the question here. What are the central problems of an economy, and write down the bold points. First point, you can write about capital and consumer goods. In the second point, you can write about what? Capital intensive and labor intensive. In the third point, you can write about rich and poor. You can write about higher class, middle class, lower class. So that way, rich and poor you can write, and then about the classes of the people. Understood? Okay. Fine. Now next one. Why the problem arises? That was the question. Why? The question is like, why central problems of an economy arises? Okay, so my question is like, why the central problems of an economy arises. So we now know the problem. ठीक है, problem तो हम लोग को पता चल गया अभी. क्या problem है? What is the problem? Yes, what, how, and for whom. Right? Now, why the central problems of an economy arises? ठीक है, problem होता ही नहीं, क्यों होगा? कितना चाहे yes, कितना चाहे produce करो ना, rich के लिए, poor के लिए, है कि नहीं? लेकिन problem क्यों है? Because point number one is due to limited resources. Right? The resources are very scarce, the resources are limited. Okay, there is unavailability of, due to unavailability of the resources. ठीक है, वही resources से हम लोगों को अभी जीना है, and even we have to keep it for the future generation also. है कि नहीं? Resources are limited. अभी हम लोग उसको use करके खत्म करेंगे, then आपका future generation का क्या होगा? They won't be able to use it. है कि नहीं? So, due to limited resources. And number two, due to us, we have unlimited. Yes, we have unlimited ones. ठीक है? So, unlimited ones of, yes, human being. Fine, so we have unlimited ones. Fine. So, as resources are limited, and even the people have unlimited ones. Now number 3 is, what is number 3? Why? The number 3 is alternative uses. Alternative uses. Okay, so if you have crude oil, so this is crude oil. Fine? So Oil India is producing what? Oil India is not refinery, right? Oil India is not refinery. You know about Oil India, right? What Oil India is doing? Today go home and study what Oil India is doing. What they are doing? They are the? Yes, fine. So crude oil, from crude oil, what we produce? We produce gas. Then? Petrol. Yes, diesel, kerosene, right? So we have limited resources, and from the limited resources, we have alternative uses. Okay, we are producing gas also, we are producing petrol also, we are producing diesel also, kerosene also. Okay, so that way many other products. So that's how gas company is here. Right? They are Oil India's client. They are buying what? Yes, from Oil India. That's why gas is available to us free of cost, and we are using it. And we are wasting it. Whoever is staying in quarters, they're wasting it. Am I right or wrong? Huh? Right? Okay. So we should not. As now you are a student of commerce, you should not. Fine. So this is your alternative uses. Understood? Understood or not? Okay, the central problems of an economy is what to produce, how to produce. Yes, whenever we are talking about what to produce, that means we'll talk about capital and consumer goods. Then how to produce, we'll talk about capital and labor-intensive technique. Okay? Then whenever we'll talk about for whom to produce, we'll talk about, yes, we'll talk about rich and poor. So you'll be able to write it. But here you will have MCQ questions. Right? 2 marks each. You just have to know the concept. Your concept has to be very clear, and you just have to go through this study material. And some extra, something extra, not too much. But if your concept is clear, you'll be able to score very good marks. Okay? I think you all are matured enough and very talented, and you'll clear in one shot. Okay? Tomorrow seniors bilake korise. So you can interact with your seniors. Jodi interot ase, just jo abosor tomar exam dia bilake to korise. Ebarate pass korise, bhal marks e paise. So even you'll be able to do it. Okay. Okay, now we'll talk about Rintu, Esha, Soni, Radhika. Are you all writing? Or your just mobile phone is on? Huh? You're listening, attending, giving concentration, or your just mobile phone is on? Are you there in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you all are from Duliajan or some other place?
Sadia Tapahua, ma'am.
Hodia? তোমালোক দুলিয়াজনৰে হয় নে বেলেগ জেগাৰ হয়?
টেঙাঘাটৰ হয় মই।
মই মানে কোনে ক'লা টেঙাঘাট? ঈশা?
মম্পি চিনোৱা।
আচ্ছা। আৰু ঈশা কৰ হয়?
শদিয়া মেম।
শদিয়া, okay. Soni?
শদিয়া মেম।
শদিয়া. Radhika?
শদিয়া মেম।
Hodia. We have too many students from Hodia. Hodiale যাব লাগিব. Have you heard this song? Mami. Hodiale jami. গৈছা নে Hodia? গৈছা? মইহে নাই যোৱা, যাব লাগিব. Dishankar? Dishankar? You're from? Dishankar, mobile phone to এনে on কৰি থৈছা?
Sonari.
Sonari. বহুত দূৰৰ পৰা. Come to Duliajan. Shashista Paul.
মেম শশিতা।
Shashita.
মেম শশিতা।
Shashi. Okay, you are from?
নাওহলীয়া।
Naholia. Okay. You can come to class, right? Okay. Now page number 12. So normative and positive economics. Normative and positive economics. Fine? Normative and positive. Okay, so here normative is like, whenever we talk about normative, it's like in simple word, norms, right? Norms means what? Norms means what? Rules and regulations. Norms means rules and regulations, we can say, right? Normative, and this is positive, fine? So here, whenever we talk about normative economics explains what ought to be and what not ought to be. Okay, normative economics se koy je enekwa hoboe lagibo ba enekwa hobo nalage. Okay, normative economics says what ought to be and what not to be, right? Enekwa hobo lagibo নহলে enekwa hobo nalagibo. ঠিক আছে? So normative economics give value judgment. Okay, normative economics gives what? Value judgment. Tomar judgment diye, je enukwa hobo lagibo ba enukwa hobo na lage. That is normative economics. Fine? So here, whenever we are talking about normative economics, you can see in your study material, it explains what ought to be and what not ought to be. And it gives value judgment, point number 2. And it deals with good and bad, right and wrong. Okay, what is good? What is bad? That means it is giving judgment that it is good or it is bad, okay, or it is right or it is wrong. So it is giving value judgment. Fine. Now, here, according to Alfred Marshall, economics is a normative science. So Alfred Marshall, he said that it is a normative science. Economics is a normative science. Now about positive economics. Okay, so positive science explains what is but not what ought to be. That means it studies the problems of the economy, or it studies the variables as they are. As they are. जैसा है वैसे ही study करते हैं. It's not like them. It's not like normative. In normative economics, it says, okay, it should be like this. It should not be like this. And here it says, here studies the problem as they are. Fine? Whatever is the problem, so that is studied that way itself. That means it does not give value judgment. Does not give value judgment. Okay, value judgment tomar nidiye. It does not give value judgment. It explains about the things as they are. Fine. Now next is, it does not deal with the value judgment. And according to Lionel Robbins, economics is a positive science. Understood? Okay, fine. So now you write down the main points about normative economics and the main points about positive economics. So understood? So positive economics, it studies the problem as they are. It does not give value judgment. Fine? And normative economics, okay, it studies, we can say, it says that what it should be, what ought to be, and what not ought to be. Okay? Enekwa hobo lagibo, tenekwa hobo nalagisile. It studies like this, and it gives value judgment, and it also tells what is bad and good and bad, and right and wrong. Fine? তোমালোকে ক'ত পঢ়িছিলা? Class 11, 12? Where? Huh? Sibsagar. Okay. Yata ক'ত থাকা? Hostelot? Huh? Cousinsৰ ঘৰত? দুইজনী শিৱসাগৰৰ পৰা? Fine. CMA পঢ়িবলৈ আহিছা নে ইয়াতে এডমিশ্যন লৈছা? BCom? এতিয়া 12 দিছাহে? ইয়াতে ল'বা? Okay. তোমালোকে এবাৰ 12 দিছা? তুমি দিছা? তুমি যোৱা বছৰ দিলা? আচ্ছা, এতিয়া BCom কৰি আছা? বাকীবোৰতো 12 দিছে এই বছৰ। Write down about positive and normative. Yeah, write down all the Hodia girls about positive and normative economics from the page number 12. Okay, write down the bold points from page number 12 about normative economics and about positive economics. Page number 12, follow page number 12, your study material. Written? Written? Okay, so last class I was talking about demand, right? So there are 3 points I have told you whenever we talk about demand. What are the 3 points? Can you remember? What are the 3 points? Demand is? 3 points I've told you, no? 3 points, there were 3 points, demand last class. Kya tha? There were 3 points. No. Yes, desire to buy. Forgot, your short-term memory loss. Huh? 1 day short-term memory loss. Kajni. So desire to buy, and willingness, yes, very good. Willingness to buy. Another one is?
Ability to pay.
Yes, very good. See, online students are more sincere. Ability to pay. Right? So here, whenever we are talking about demand, now go to page number 19. Okay, we are starting with demand. Fine? So whenever we are talking about demand, so Demand means here desire to buy, all together, all this, desire to buy plus willingness to buy. Only desire to buy will not enough, okay? So you have to have the desire to buy a particular commodity. You need to have willingness to buy the product, and as well as you should have the ability to pay, or we can say you should have the purchasing power. Purchasing power, right? So all these three is all together is demand, desire to buy plus willingness to buy plus, yes, ability to pay by the particular consumer, and or we can say or purchasing power. So he should have the power to purchase. That means पैसा होना चाहिए, ठीक है? Willingness, इच्छा होना चाहिए. Desire, चाहिए ये सामान, right? So all these three is altogether your demand. You can see here in page number 19, I'll read out for you. Demand means desire in common parlance, but in economics, demand means desire backed by the purchasing power and willingness to pay the price, right? So all these 3 points are here. Demand means desire to buy backed by willingness as well as ability, or we can say purchasing power. Demand is basically a purchase of any good or service which involves the expositions of the desire by the demander, the customer, and the ability of the demander. Ability or purchasing power is measured usually by the level of income and wealth of the customer. For example, a student demands for a book on managerial economics by a particular author. Though he has the desire to take and read the book, but he may not purchase the book because he may not have that much of money. Hence, to complete demand for a good or service, there should be the combination of desire and purchasing power. In the following discussions, we will be covering details on the topic of theory of demand. Fine? Understood? Understood? So if there will be a question in the MCQ, so last class I've given one MCQ question, right? So altogether, demand means if these options are given, and in one, the last option was you have written, right? The last option was like desire to buy, backed by willingness and ability to pay. So that will be the correct option. If you will tick only desire to buy and these options are given, that will be wrong. If only this option is given and you have clicked this, okay? Rest of the option you have not chosen, then you are wrong. So you have to choose the option which will cover all these three. So that is demand all about. Clear? Understood? Otherwise, pura 2 marks in is about Janu, mutu correct asile. Demand mane, etu confusing hoy na. Demand mane desire to buy. The demand mane willingness to buy. Demand mane tumar ability to pay. Kintu kuntu choose koriba. All these three. Fine? Understood? Okay. Now, last class also we have discussed about related goods. Related goods. There are how many types of related goods? Related goods. It's in that page only. Related goods. Okay? So the types of goods here, you can see in page number 19 itself, substitute goods and complementary goods. Right? So here, one of the type of good is related goods is your substitute. Substitute goods. Okay? Substitute goods. The demand for any commodity not only depend upon its own price, but also the prices of its substitute goods. For example, tea and coffee. Here the demand for tea depends upon price of coffee. Okay? So here substitute goods, example of substitute good is tea and coffee. Fine? And how it is related? Suppose whenever we are talking about tea and coffee, see here, price of one product. Price of one product. Suppose that one product is tea. Okay? So that price of one product is related with demand of another product, that is coffee. Fine. So here, price of one product is related with demand of another product. Fine. So substitute goods competition with one another. So here, if the price of coffee falls, the demand for coffee will, if the price of coffee falls, the demand for coffee will rise following the law of demand. No, it's like the price of tea falls, the demand for coffee will, If the price of coffee falls, the demand for coffee will rise following the law of demand. Since coffee is the substitute for tea, people will reduce the consumption of tea. It's like if the price of tea will increase, okay, price of tea will increase, demand of coffee will increase. Right? Fine? Since coffee is the substitute for tea, people will reduce the consumption of tea and increase the consumption of coffee, as coffee is now relatively cheaper than tea. So when the price of coffee falls, the demand for tea will also fall. Fun? Understood? Okay. The essence of this example is that demand for a commodity, Dn, and the price of its substitute, Ps, are directly or positively related. Okay, directly and positively related. That means the price of one commodity and the demand for another commodity. Okay, price of one commodity and the demand for another commodity is, it is directly related. Directly related. Okay, directly and positive. So you can write down this line. Here it's mentioned, directly and positively related. Okay, directly and positively related. Why? Because you can write this, the price of one product, if it will increase, the demand for another product will increase. So that is directly related. Directly it is impacting, right? Influencing. Directly related and positively it is giving positive change, right? So here the price is increasing, the demand for substitute good is automatically increasing. So that's how it is directly related, this and this. Fine? Understood? Written? Okay, now next one. One is substitute goods, another one is? Yes, another one is complementary good. Okay, one example of complementary good is? Complementary good. So here example is car and petrol. Fine. So you can see here the demand for a commodity also depend upon the price of its complementary goods. For example, car and petrol. Here the demand for petrol depend upon the price of the car. If the price of petrol rises, the demand for petrol will if the price of petrol rises, the demand for petrol, car will decrease. Okay? Petrol car will decrease following the law of demand. Since petrol is complementary to the car, people will reduce the demand for car along with petrol. So if price of petrol rises, if the price of petrol rises, okay, demand of petrol car will decrease. Okay, it will decrease. Is it directly related? Huh? Yes. Inverse. One is increasing, another one is, demand is decreasing. So inversely related. So MCQ will be from like this. So you need to understand ki hobo pare. Okay, you think here logically, what is the product all about? Okay, then you try to give the answer. It is inversely related. Fine? So here demand and price of the complementary goods are inversely related. Okay, so price and demand of complementary goods are inversely related. Fine? And in case of substitute goods, price and demand are directly and positively related. That you remember. Fine? Understood? Understood everyone? Okay. Fine, that's all for today. Okay, that's all for today.